Howdy there, folks and fellows, and welcome to Shift Happens. Here at 522 Productions, we've had our share of ups and particularly downs. We've set goals that we didn't quite hit, we've been dealt some tough hands, but when you get knocked down, you get back up again. But you don't just get up, you learn and you grow. And here at 522, we try and do that every day and every time we deal with something. And we've adopted a new slogan to sort of embody that. Attitude to gratitude. I'm here with our CEO, Alisa Vossen, and our CCO, Chad Vossen, to discuss exactly what attitude to gratitude means and how you can apply that to your own endeavors. So, let's make shift happen. Hey Chad, hey Alisa, thank you so much for joining me this time around.
Hi, team.
Howdy.
I'm just gonna go ahead and ask you guys just right off the bat, what exactly does attitude to gratitude mean?
Our original idea for this podcast was, to talk about reflection of 2023, but really the reflection was basically on how we changed the company culture in order to adapt to everything, right? So it's one thing for a business to adapt to the ever evolving, ideologies of business or the market and how people are engaging in different aspects of businesses. But it's another thing to have a culture and a community of folks who can also mentally and psychologically adapt as well to the ever-changing needs, especially when you're not actually aware or maybe or indirectly involved in those shifts. Market shifts is out of my control, but we got to keep moving forward. So I think it was a cultural shift that we decided to put into place, and it was a way for us to sort of look at our failures, maybe look at the things that didn't go so well and turn them into a successful path for us to build better. And so Shift Happens is exactly sort of an embodiment of that. But you can either have, what I say, a negative attitude about it, like you don't want change to happen, so you're very mad about it, or you can thank change for the future that you have ahead. So we had this mindset, I think, a lot of folks had this mindset a little bit coming out of COVID, but I don't know if they embodied really a thankful presence for it. I think people were just like, wait, what just happened? Where I was like, I appreciated COVID. I thought it was a really great way for us to adapt to a new life, a new future, a new way of doing business where others were, upset about the processes and all that shenanigans. But having a different mindset that comes into play allows you to actually be thankful for the opportunities ahead, and you can actually see those opportunities.
But how would you say other businesses can also sort of pivot that perspective of attitude to gratitude?
My perspective, Chad, and you can probably veto me or adapt to it, is I think of it as the giver receiver method, and I kind of relate it back to the holidays, right? You don't want to always be the receiver of a gift. You want to be the giver of the gift, because the giver of the gift should make that person feel there's your gratitude. I appreciate that. I'm going to give you a gift, and there's no return. You shouldn't have a return gift. And that's the philosophy you try and teach. Well, we try and teach our children that it's not about giving, or it's about giving. It's not about receiving. And I kind of had this idea with customers as well, is that we wanted to give our expertise in our product in a way that was a positive impact on them on the flip side,
Right.
without them even knowing. So anytime they interacted with 522, they had a positive experience. Anytime they received or shared a product that we developed, there was a positive experience. They in turn were a better human after being a part of our organization or being involved in our organization with a product that was a memorable experience for them. Not in the sense that we made a Coca-Cola video, but we made, let's say, a culture video that changed the perspective within their business, right? And that was a positive, memorable experience that they will be able to take back with them, that they are better for that than they were when they didn't start with us, if that makes sense.
And I think that's something we always try to do. We're always trying to make sure that the people who work with like us. They like working with us. They're not just like, yeah, you guys do good work. We'll hire you for the next one. You guys did a good job. It's like, oh, we had a good time. Just, the other week, there was a shoot that our CD Kyle went on. And the person who he was interviewing sent a message was like, I had a blast with Kyle. I had a great time. And I was like, that's great. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that we want to see more of. It's like,
Unsolicited
exactly.
gratitude is probably the best reaction for most, even if it's a small
Hmm.
reward. That's all that matters because, life is short. So you don't want to be working the grind for
Yeah.
no reward. But I mean, if you are going to work, at least have a positive and happy
Yeah.
experience
No.
going through it.
Like, how do you think we applied it this year to our goals? And then how do you think we should apply it next year to our goals?
So in terms of this year, in reflection of 2023, we set out with a pretty we set out with
Hmm.
some pretty ambitious goals, and it was more of like all inclusive work that everybody at 522 was involved in, and something that in the past it's always been department this, department that, department goals, individualized, and this year we really worked hard to make sure everybody's goals
Hmm.
was everybody's goals. So if you had a goal, everybody was
Right.
involved in that goal, and that led to a team that was able to like leverage each other's like smart brains, and so that also presents like higher appreciation for everybody's like expertise within their own department, but they all had to be a part of like the success. So I think it was an abstract kind of goal that we had from a cultural shift that didn't wasn't like a written down goal, but for next year, within the goals, it's definitely going to be a part of our way of developing customer service, and being able
Hmm.
to work with clients and to be able to showcase that value with clients versus, because the
Yeah.
clients have lots of options out there. Let's be honest, for a video production company, like there's dozens upon dozens upon dozens upon dozens of options. And the great resignation actually added even more contenders to the competitional market because people like quit their jobs and was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to go freelance. And sometimes it became referrals or not. So it's going to be even more critical showcase gratitude within
Hmm.
our processes because it's going to be the way is it's kind of the key to the success, or maybe the ingredient in the sauce that helps people really have a great experience developing content, because video is going to be even more prevalent next year and probably the year after that. Like, it's not going away. Everybody needs it. Everybody
Yeah.
needs it in an affordable way. Everybody needs it fast. Everybody needs content. And if you are working with teams that don't appreciate, the workload or the
Yeah.
process or the people and the mission and the goals, then it's going to make your job a lot harder and people are not going to want to do that.
No, for sure. Chad, what do you, and I guess in your mind, like, how do you think you would want to apply, like, attitude to gratitude, in particular next year, since we're really sort of speaking to really focusing that idea?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always, they call production for a reason, right? Like
Yeah.
something's going to go wrong. And it's easy to get frustrated, be annoyed, or whatever. Things are going to go wrong, and it's kind of just taking that deep breath, taking a pause, and thinking about it, and just realizing, like, okay, cool. Like, how can we turn these
Hmm.
lemons into lemonade? How can we deal, maybe we don't have the best hand, but we could still win that round of poker. It's
Yeah.
those kinds of things where we were on a shoot. I think I bet you were there, where we were kicked out of not one but two of the rooms that we had reserved
Yep.
for interviews, and it's like, okay, like that's cool. Easily, you can get frustrated and you can get annoyed and you can
Yeah.
pout or you can cry or you can be like, that's it, we're going home, we gotta shoot this another day. But it's taking that step back and being like, you know what, these folks are kind enough to be donating their time. We had one of the folks fly down
Yeah.
from New York, and it's not like we're going to ask her to come back again. and she was just there for the day. So, being in the moment and being like, okay, how are we going to, play this hand? It's just remembering and reminding yourself to think positive and be like, okay, cool. How can we get through this together? Like leaning on your team and leaning on your clients, leaning on the crew, leaning on, in post and thinking through all those things. And really that's probably, the biggest thing for us, is just remembering, like, yeah, you know what, it doesn't matter how difficult something seems, it's always going to seem insurmountable until you take that first step. And that's really the message. Take that first step. And the second one's going to be easier. The third one will be even easier than that. And you'll get to where you're trying to go.
Absolutely, yeah. So, Alisa, how would you say we've built this team so far, and what do you think are the key things we've done to like create a good company culture here that has created the work that we want to do and the work we want to be?
I kind of, after you asked that question a minute, I kind of thought back, Chad, to when we did the EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, whatever system it was called, and we had gone through this like training for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and how to like build business and, systemize and teach us new tools and tricks to help us like build teams and grow. And one element of that training was right people, right seat. And so it really stuck and resonated more than the training kind of explained a little bit, right? Because like you don't actually know what that means, right people, right seat, until you actually try putting right people in the right seat. And I don't think that philosophy exists anymore. There's a generation gap where that was how work used to, or how hiring used to happen. In today's world, it's really about finding the core group of people that will really embody the business and build the business from the ground up. So to me, we took that and said it was most important to us to find cultural fit humans that could embody our passion and building the business and what we do at 522, who not only resonated with our company culture, but also our company values. And if they embody those values and how that we want to bring on clients, then we have the right people. And we can teach the tools, we can teach the seats, we can teach the skills that they need in each of the departments, but we needed to find the right humans first to be a part of that. And I think because we shifted, we definitely had a lot of different evolving roles that were happening, but we got to this really great team that we have now, which is, having the ability to pivot and change.
And so I want to speak about how attitude to gratitude can sort of apply to our video content, or how you think that we could try and apply to our video content that we produce.
I mean, I personally think like one of the key things that 522 does extraordinarily well for clients is taking complex ideas or an idea that a company has to change a perspective of their audience and tell that story in an art form that not only embodies the mission of the client, but also gets the audience to react. And a lot of the projects that we work on inherently are feel-good projects, because they are projects that either we're helping people by changing people. We're helping people by giving them things that they need to be better, or we're changing the perspective of a business to get them out of like a public affairs situation of some capacity. But I would say 522 is ultimately sought to build these products because of the fact that we understand the emotional state that the audience is in, and that gives us the ability to craft a story that is relevant to them. But if you don't have that ability to take a step back and understand that empathy, right, and you're just out to do the creative design, then you're going to miss the boat off that product. So from a product standpoint, everything we do is unique, which kind of, is a business's nightmare, because you can't templatize anything. Sometimes it's not scalable, but at the end of the day, it's it actually is highly more effective
Yeah.
for the client than it is for us. Like, it's our reward is the client's reward, versus, I don't know,
Trying to
whatever.
maximize, trying to like maximize our
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
you know, profit
Yeah,
margin by making, because you could, I think, you know, I'm speaking to what you're talking about. It's like taking our videos and like making them, like you said, we can't templatize them because we make them custom made. We listen to our clients and we try to work towards speaking to their audience and like understanding our clients and understanding our audience. And so in that respect, it's like we can't just we could work towards maximizing our profit by making something a little bit more standard, something that would be acceptable but does not speak to anyone, does not truly do anything for anyone. But we work towards actually trying
Right.
to speak towards the audience, which of course is not templatizable. It's very custom. It's not as easy to just sort of sell.
Right.
yeah. No, I mean we're constantly, like we like to say, we like to humanize brands, right? And you know, Lisa, I know Kyle in particular has been working on a ton of projects and doing a phenomenal job boiling the ocean, where it's like a really complex, deep
Yeah.
subject matter or whatever, and being like, okay, great, how are we going to tell this story
Yeah.
in 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever? And I think it's, you know, we do a great job and focusing on, hey, somebody has to watch this. How are they going to watch it in a manner where they can understand it? And how are we going to tell the story in a way that matters to them and impacts them? And I think that's always been a focus of ours. And I think one of the things that I know we're excited about, or you know, grateful for this year, is the clients that we're working with, and the number of referral projects we've gotten this year has been awesome. And repeat, you know, people that are coming back that maybe we haven't worked with in a while. I'm extremely grateful for that. People are, you know, instilling their trust, and I think that's one of the hardest things, because you know, our strength there is like we are such a we really do care about our craft and how we're telling stories and the process. We want people to enjoy the process. We want our clients to feel taken care of, not just, you know, on the creature comforts of do we have craft services, but like, is it a
Right.
collaborative process? Do they feel like they're being listened to? Do they feel like they're being heard? And I think the hardest thing for us like has been conveying that message, right? Because we're almost, you know, people don't really understand what it means to work with 522 until they work with 522. So we're like,
I think maybe
Yeah.
what I can say last is like attitude to gratitude is not a new phenomenon, right? It is a known entity within a lot of like meditation, but to embody it is the other big hurdle to jump over, right? But it starts with each of us individually understanding what it means, not only to us, but to the team and to how it translates to everybody around us. And I think Chad and I had to learn through some tough challenges how to even be grateful for even those tough challenges, because like in the tough challenges you can't see
Yeah.
why you should be grateful. You're just like, oh, this sucks, like pissed, you don't know why it's happening to you. But then like once you're like out of that cloud and you're able to reflect back on it, you can see and appreciate
Right.
what you just learned, or what you just learned, like what you just went through. So you have to grow through what you go through. Right?
Yeah.
We're using every analogy ever.
grow through what you go
Go
through.
through. So you have to be able to like
Yeah.
you have to embrace it and make sure that like it is part of your ability to move and appreciate it. Like I appreciate every time I lose a client, because I can't take earning a client for granted, and I should not be awarded a project if I have not earned the trust of that client. And every time I don't earn that trust, because it's not given, just because we have a reputation in the industry for being a known entity, it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
we should win, period. And I don't think anybody on our staff either feels like they should feel like they got a project, even though they've done a project. Because guess what? You're going to do 10 projects and you still are going to learn something after like the 20th project. So I think making sure that we are always grateful for any client that selects 522. And we will always go above and beyond for our clients.
Yeah.
But unless you appreciate that process, unless you are grateful for that opportunity to even do that extra work, I think that's where some companies fall short, right? And so all the hard things that we've had to gone through, we have changed them to a positive, to pass down that growth and expertise to everybody, even to our clients. There's things that I've developed and said, here, client, take this because it's going to make your life easier. And that is the positive impact we want people to have when working with 522, or that's how I lead my personal life. You know, like if I'm coaching a team, like my daughter's team, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this again, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to give these kids a positive experience because somebody has to. And I want them to leave the court after they've had time with me saying that was fun and I'm going to continue that in my life. So I think that's just a way of life that we've wanted to live. And so we've tried to translate that into our business and hopefully have been able to translate that into our staff as well.
Yeah, thank you, Alisa. Thank you, Chad, for joining me here on this episode of Shift Happens. I hope the audience takes away some good things from this discussion today. Remember, attitude to gratitude. That's the thing that we're taking into 2024. I hope everyone takes that as well, and I hope you have a good day.
Like, share, subscribe.